Sideline of goal! Blake Widow's doing it! They're gonna take! He's gonna bring down Burning. Alone with a double kill. Dropping fast. Monopoint's there. He's still alive! Wait, Roshan gets left. He's going one side. He's going a second. He's taking it. They're all die on three! They're all dead!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Summit 2 by G2A.com. We're in the European Division, and it's time for the Balkan Bears Corleone versus Team Empire, a CIS showdown. We'll have Weeha, who's quickly becoming one of my favorite players in the European scene, Fen and his band of brothers facing off against Team Empire. This will be Empire's debut match here in the Summit 2. We've yet to see them in action. And as our draft is fairly far along, we'll quickly run through the picks and bans here. So, first overall pick, Razor for BBC. The reply from Empire, that Skywrath Mage Void duo. And the thing to note here with Empire is no mag. They've got Yoki standing in. He'll be playing that offlane role, I imagine. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I believe that is, in fact, the case. And, well, with that said, let's see. What are the picks going to be from here? They have the Skywrath Void, but I really like Medusa to counter this combo. Actually, I like all these heroes against Skywrath Void. So Razor and Medusa are really tanky, right? You chrono that Mystic Flare, it can kill them at certain stages of the game, but you go late enough, not a guaranteed kill. And even Ogre, quite tanky as well. Then on top of that, if you don't catch Medusa and she Stone Gazes, the Void is useless during Chronosphere. So I think overall, BBC have drafted very well to kind of withstand the onslaught, and their bans are also good here. They'll ban out the Gyrocopter, they'll remove the Ancient Apparition, and they basically, they delete the follow-up to the Chronosphere Mystic Flare. So you can have that, they say, but, well, you cannot really have anything else. You've already picked up a Wisp, they won't be able to fit a Mirana or shoehorn one into this lineup. They're pretty much stuck with what they've got for now, as far as the Chronosphere support follow-up goes. But yeah, with that said, Empire, they pick their Wisp. They've normally been running it with the Silent Gyrocopter, I'd say more often than not. Obviously, there's other heroes in this patch that are certainly possibilities. There's things like Phantom Assassin, which could be pretty good. Not so good with a Void, though. You generally want a range carry, but they're not going to go that route. They'll go, I mean, basically a Vici Gaming direction here. They'll go for the Tiny Wisp. They run this support Skywrath with the offlane Void. This is exactly how Vici have been drafting. And just making sure my audio is working. Seems like it should be fine. And yeah, okay, it's working in Dota TV. Fifth bans rather for Empire now. Let's see, what are they going to remove from the pool? The BBC already have their supports. They probably need an offlaner. They could run like an aggressive Trilane Razor. They could run the Medusa's not really a good aggressive Trilane hero, or they could go for that Medusa offlane, which we've seen some teams experimenting with. I think it's very situational. We've seen KPG did it twice, but I would expect a more traditional offlaner for BBC. Also because they just need some actual teamfight lockdown initiation of some kind. Ogre, CM, don't farm well. You're not going to get an early blink on these heroes, so you need someone who could start the fights. And, well, as far as options for that go, let's see. Who's lurking out there in the pool? There's always creative stuff like your Axe, but yeah, more traditional offlaners. Puck is a decent option at this point. If they want something that just offers them a little bit more punch in the team fights, but less control, they could go Elder Titan. Centaur, already banned. Brew, already banned. There's Doom, but I think he's pretty weak here. Doesn't disable Backtrack or Bash. Doesn't disable Craggy anymore. There's Darkseer. There's really not many great offlaners yet. Maybe they just say, screw it. There's no control to be had. Let's just get some team fight. There's that offlane Mag. That's always a possibility. And, well, we'll find out soon enough. Okay. Puck picked up by Empire. I was talking about BBC's need for an offlaner, but this really limits their options now. I was just talking to our Chinese casters. But yeah, I have no idea. What do you go for here? Maybe you just say, screw it, let's run some dual lanes. Like an Ogre Razor, CM +1 wouldn't be too terrible. But any sort of dual lane is always going to have a tough time against the Scarith Mage, that's for damn sure. Undying. Alright. This could be their offlaner. They could run some dual lanes here. CM, Undying, pretty strong lane. Ogre Razor, pretty strong dual lane. They could run the Medusa mid if they want to. Pretty flexible. And it's going to be a Weehaw Medusa. Alright. Let's get it going. I've yet to see his Medusa. Why are they saying they can't hear me? Alright, just trying to sort out some people are reporting they can't hear me, but my volume meter is moving, so I'm not sure why that would be the case. If needed, we'll restart the stream real quickly. But with that said, let's go ahead and introduce our teams. We've got on the Balkan Bears Corleone, an offlane Undying for Padrino. That'll be Levy playing your support Crystal Maiden. Weehaw will be handling your Medusa, going to the mid lane, rushing the bottle. That puts Hockey on the safe lane Razor, and Solitude is the Ogre Magi. For Empire, you've got Yoki. Offlane Void, no more Mag. Resolution will be your solo mid Puck, one of his go-to heroes. Always want to fly. The Skywrath, a long-range tether from Solo as he gets aggressive here in the Radiant Jungle. He'll be on the Wisp, and that leaves Silent as the Tony. Okay, so if you can't hear me, that's on your end, guys. I'm getting some other reports that other people hear me just fine, so maybe try refreshing your stream. Do apologize for that. For anyone who is having issues, but always want to fly, walks right into it. Dying! What a way to give up a first blood! 2 more clubs, down he goes, drops the Panic Observer Ward. That ain't gonna save you, always want to fly. Oh my goodness, what a great ambush by BBC. That Scarith Mage 0 base armor just melts to the right clicks. What a way to do it. Alright, and for anyone who's watching Beyond the Summit 3 right now, which I know is a handful of you, we're going to switch over to BTS 1, so I'm taking the stream down right now. You should go to twitch.tv/BeyondTheSummit, guys. And yeah, once again, twitch.tv/BeyondTheSummit. We'll be there for the rest of the day for the European Division. Do apologize for the last-minute switcheroo. I'm actually going to go ahead and just host our other channel real quickly to cut down on the issues. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll host in 3 minutes. Okay, anyway. Yeah. Offlane Undying. He's going to have support of CM, so pretty much exactly like I was suggesting with the dual lanes. This is a strong dual lane. Skywrath, tiny, not really that scary. With the Wisp, there's some kill potential here, but yeah, I think that's a good dual lane for the laning stage. The question for me for BBC is, what do they do after the laning stage? Will Undying have enough of an impact here? It's a dual lane versus a tri-lane, and with a Scarith Mage, it's still tough even for an Undying to stay in the lane. But with the first blood, this gives Petrino his early boots. He's off to a great start. Levy, now picked up a magic stick. They're going to harass Solo a bit here. Won't be able to kill him off too early. They'll drop the Tombstone. Tether is available. He might need to use it. Yeah, he's going to tether over the ravine to always want to fly. So it's an offlane Void versus a Razor. Just a Razor alone will give the Void fits, and obviously with the support of an Ogre, it's a very difficult lane for him. 0 last hits, just the 1 deny. But they get aggressive top lane. Padrino might have gotten a little bit too cocky. He does have another Decay. He's already got 4 stacks of it. Levy doesn't have that extra HP, though. Stick charges are available. Another Decay comes out. Empire will zone them off, but unable to get that kill just yet. They'll retreat successfully. So our mid lane. Weehaw versus Resolution's Puck. Skill build, the go-to build nowadays for all Medusa players, which is no more taking split shot, no more taking stats early on. It's just too damn good to get the spell shield Mystic Snake. Mystic Snake has been buffed repeatedly over the last few patches. As Solo gets aggressive here, he's a double damager, and for those who can't really see it well, because, well, for Wisp, it pretty much looks exactly the same as if you don't have a double damager. They're thinking about a chase, but this Solo just slowly chasing. Look at that base move speed, 290 to 295. He's going to need more than a few auto attacks to finish the job here. But yeah, okay. I think we're caught up now. All right, welcome everybody in who's on the BTS1 stream. I think you just missed a pretty clowny first blood earlier. For those who didn't get to see it, the Scarith Mage walked up a hill into a Waiting Undying and Crystal Maiden for the Balkan Bears Corleone, and they do strike first. So our laning phase overall looking good for the safe lane Radiant, of course. The Void struggling to get any sort of farm, but at least is getting his levels up. The mid lane, it's a Medusa farming, but getting out-farmed pretty damn heavily by the enemy Puck. And in the off lane, they got a first blood. Nearly died, though, Levy and Padrino, and they're continuing to play aggressively, but not getting kills since that first blood, and not shutting down Silence fucked farm on the Tiny either. Solo was off in the jungle. Did he do any stack over here? No. So he's only level 2. And generally, that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen the Tri-Lane Wisp, is the dual lanes mid. It just really helps you secure those early levels much easier. When you run the Tri-Lane Wisp, if you're not allowed to free pull, then you could fall behind. The key thing here for the levels on the Wisp is A, stacking the camps, and B, making sure Tiny gets as much uninhibited experience as possible. As long as you do that, he'll get like his level 7 or 8, and you could just start clearing the stacks yourself. As the Ogre's gonna zone out the Faceless Man. He's not having fun in this bottom lane. But he's doing well for experience, level 4 already. And he doesn't really need to be the damage dealer. They'll have a go and always want to fly with the Tombstone drop. He's most likely gonna fall here, but the trade will come through with the zombies. I think Padrino maybe has a shot to turn this around. He's got the nukes, 6 stick charges, the zombie apocalypse mounts, and they have a decent amount of time left on this tombstone. Ideally, would want to go for solo, but the zombies are not cooperating, mostly focusing on the Tiny. As he walks into the trees, he could bait Empire in a bit too far. They've got their Crystal Maiden back and ready to engage, but no tombstone to fight this time. The Avatos, round 2, comes their Wisp thrown into her doom. Finally, Ogre says, I want some of this action. Comes in and, well, we'll die to a drive-by. The Crystal Maiden falls to resolution. Now coming back in the other direction. Already level 6 at 5 minutes in. With the haster and nearly falling to the tower. Will phase shift, dodging that final potentially killing blow. Always want to fly. Also living by the skin of his teeth. And they may go back in on Solitude if we're not careful. We've got a bloodbath on our hands here as the Summit 2 Europe gets underway for... I don't even know what day it is. Day 5? Something like that. Something like that. So they leave the Razor. This does, I guess, quote-unquote, free up the Void a little bit. As Always Wanna Fly is going to get a free fountain trip here. So spent his gold first, picks up his boots, and just will get some easy mana. Denies himself to the neutral. It's no big deal, but yeah, the Razor is dominating bottom lane. But again, I go back to my point of you have a Puck to do damage. Scarith Mage can dish out a lot in the Chronosphere, and you have a Tiny Wisp. Tiny alone is a big AoE nuker early on, even before he gets that egg, so it's not overly concerning that Void isn't getting his farm. I think overall things looking pretty solid here for Team Empire, but a lot of it just comes down to their mid-game execution. As we'll see a quick and simple kill on the Wisp. If they keep on giving kills up like that, then they'll be in trouble. I do worry a bit about the Chronosphere initiations later on this game, though. If Razor gets to the point where he's BKB, and Ags, enough tank items that they can't just burst him out with Mystic Flare, then they're in trouble. Boy, not level 6, he's just going to look for the bash lock. Yoki has chosen to max time lock, has taken 0 points to backtrack, and he gets a 3rd bash for this fight. Securing the kill, now almost has a Chronosphere to boot. So far, 1 for 1, a Puck for a Razor. Still an even trade, more or less, as Yoki looks to retreat. He'll tango up through the tree line, but they get that Fire Blast on Always Wanna Fly. He goes in a little bit farther, looking to finish off the Ogre. He will. Can he TP out? He has mana soon if he can buy a Teleport Scroll, but I think it might have been on cooldown. Won't matter anyway. If there's a bash here, Levy probably dead. Might take 2 bashes. Yoki not going to find them. We'll just retreat out. But the victor from all this is, it's actually Weeha. He's just left alone in the middle lane. He's getting his free farm. Phase Boots online, the bottle picked up. And it should definitely be said that BBC have fantastic late game in their own right. Where they really struggle is Teamfight Lockdown. All they have is the Medusa ultimate. Tombstone will be very effective for now, as Hockey continues to get harassed in this bottom lane. He may actually die. The Orb of Venom slow. There's a Chronosphere ready. I'm not sure if he has a static link currently active. Might have been broken by the Void. Yeah. With the bash, yeah, that's a chrono time. Is damage being drained? Doesn't look like he needs one more bash. He'll get it too. No! He needs a little bit more than that. The quick reactions on your ogre. That's a very agile beast. And he'll turn it around. That was not expected, I gotta be honest. He had the quick draw there again. Ogre's always surprising with the way he can just zap you with his fire. Petrino is getting a little out of control in this offlane. He's just continuing to bully Silent. Throws out the heal on himself. Now they're going to jump in. They don't have a Wisp in sight. Oh, Silent got cocky. He'll use the Avalanche. Tries to TP out. Not going to happen. Stops for a Chuck. The Chuck insufficient as well. And this is where you do want to check for Solo. Has he been up to much stacking? Just a single stack here. Really inadequate. So Tiny not getting great catch-up. And they may lose Solo. Is there a blast? There is. Levy on a killing spree. This offlane, Undying Crystal Maiden. It started off even, they got a first blood, then they gave up a kill, and it's now 7, 3, and 5 combined. As Resolution whiffs his coil bottom. Empire in their debut match in the Summit 2. Europe off to a very shaky start here. The 3 lead farmers are now all on the sides of the Balkan Bears Corleone. They're ruthless thus far. Empire still have a great comeback lineup, of course. They have a lot of split push. Heroes that are difficult to kill later on in the game, especially once like Resolution gets his blink. Foy just gets, you know, items of any kind. He's got treads for now. And the Tiny gets farmed. And they definitely out-farm BBC outside of the Medusa. But, well, they need to find some kills, and that's tough against this Undying. Soul rips himself nearly back to full health. Then a Wild Crystal Maiden appears. Will bring down the Skyrat. Looks for Silent as well. That's another frag on your Tiny. I believe it is. And they might kill off Solo to boot. The zombies going to work. Ogre clubs are down, and the Wisp dies again. It's a 3-hero beatdown. BBC 0-4 to date in the Summit 2. They've played a lot of games with little luck, but they are looking strong here and perhaps on the verge of taking their first win. Hockey caught out in the bottom lane. It's a level 3 silence, and that should be enough. That is their one trouble point. The Razor 1 and 2. Yeah, struggled quite a bit here. But I think if you're shutting down the Tiny Wiz this hard, it may be worth it. You've still got a Medusa free farming end of the day. And something coming for her, I believe, on the courier. No, nothing yet. Should be something else. Something in the stash. Huh. Oh, no. Oh, you want to kill her. Okay. Let's see. It's diving the mid lane a bit. It's getting to that point where Puck just can't lane against this Medusa anymore. They'll drop the Tombstone top lane, and more action continues as the zombies begin to multiply, and they chase after Solo. Still not level 6. They follow up Always Want to Fly. Look at the damage from that level 2 decay. Another punch down in the top lane. These heavyweights are just wiping the floor with the welters. They don't have a prayer. And what do? As long as BBC keeps this level of aggression up, Empire just can't fight. They have to go for pickoffs. As soon as they get the Mystic Flare, try to go for like a Chronosphere Mystic Flare. Do what you did bottom to the Razor. Do not let BBC Deathball. If you do at this stage of the game, they are in no condition to fight. And what's worse is there's going to be a Bloodlust on the Undying now. So all that additional bonus strength that he has, yeah, he's going to hit that much harder. The attack speed really will pay off for him nicely. And they're just going to keep... I would like to see them just park themselves top. No reason to back off this lane. At least leave the Undying +1 here and constantly apply pressure. There's an Observer Ward, so they'll be spotted. And they do have to be a bit cautious about like a 4 or 5 hero rotation top to try and win through force of arms. But you don't want to like, give the Tiny Wisp too much alone time in their jungle. That's the special opportunity to catch up. You have to be cautious about. Concussive Shot comes through. Hits on Levy. He'll be okay, though. And the other thing is, as long as they're doing that, that leaves a lot of openings for Weehaw. They'll manage to get the Chuck off, and they bring the Undying way back. Oh, no. Levy might be caught out now as well. Blink, Coil is there. Levy will try to turn, kill off Solo as a trade. That's not going to happen. A 2-0. Just the opening that Empire needed to try and claw their way back in this game. But while that was happening, Hockey and the Creep Wave combined. They take down the tower bottom. And despite the 2 deaths, he's got his mech online now. Aquila picked up the mech available. They may want a 5-man. Like, you Chronosphere and then what? Medusa can Stone Gaze, you can mech. Tower will be denied by Resolution. Great play by him. They'll need that Stone Gaze soon, I think. Weehaw may be forced to use it. We'll pop it now. Always want to fly. Try not to get caught by it, but he gets in front of Resolution. We'll shatter him quickly as he's petrified. For now, Solo. Eat a multicast, mother. Down he'll go. Your Ogre. Now, only a level 1 Bloodlust, but it's very effective at level 1 still. You look at the way this ability scales, especially for the move speed. Level 1 brings to the table more than the other 3 levels combined. And the cooldown and duration don't change either, so it truly is the definition of a value point. And now they look to push, and I think this is the way to play it. You've got your ultimate orb up on the Medusa, Bloodlust, Razor Mech. Your 5-man is strong, and it's Chronosphere, but then nothing really to back it up. This goes back to the draft where BBC banned the Ancient Apparition, a great deep push hero, a great hero to counter a Mech Rush carry. And another multicast! Ding, 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 motherfucker! Solitude finds yet another kill. BBC, the hits just keep on coming for them. I'm sorry, I get a little excited when I see Ogre. I love that hero. Oh my goodness. It's just refreshing after... I'm sure soon enough I'll be sick of him, but I'll enjoy the next week or two while it lasts. All hail our new Ogre Overlords. Our Ogre Lords, as it were. I'll push in mid. Hockey, grouping up with Weehaw. Solitude here to join him. Oh, and while that was happening, I do miss a kill bottom lane. Yoki, use the Chronosphere Resolution, dropping his combo, but that means they will have to forfeit the tier 2. I think that is the right play for Empire, though. You actually can't take 5-man engagements. Not while the Medusa ultimate's up, not while the mech is here. And tower, narrowly missing on the deny. They're not gonna fully take the tower bottom, though, unfortunately. Empire desperately in need of that gold infusion. Look at their support. 1,600 net worth on a Wisp, 1,400 on a Skywrath Mage, and these heroes want to be ahead. Wisp, very squishy against all this burst damage. We'll need every bit of HP that she can muster, but there's just nothing. And they're going to be forced to go for a catch-up Midas on the Tiny. For Silent. Probably top 3 players, top 3 carries in terms of just how much he loves his Midas. This is double damage Razor. Will usher Yoki off the bottom lane. But they do have to keep they have to keep in mind the game plan here if you're BBC. You have your early mech, you're building towards the pipe on Padrino. You have cores that scale well, but you really lack in proper teamfight control later on. You have Fire Blast, Frostbite, and Nova. And Stone Gaze, yeah. Stone Gaze is really good, but it's not something you can rely on alone to win your teamfight. It just gives you more time to make your plays. And they'll relocate bottom. Hockey does have his mech. He needs to pop it quickly. He will do so. It's not enough. The multicast following this one up, trying to turn on Resolution. They'll Stone Gaze as Weehaw gets aggressive and tries to lock down that puck. Unable to finish him off, but can't get always want to fly either. The bashes come through. Another set of dings. This guy should be playing the lotto. Solitude off to a good start. Now Silent in trouble. There's no Wisp relocate to bring him back to safety. So if he dies here, well, if he's close to die, I should say, there's no retreat in sight. Resolution also being pursued out. Unable to get that Blink Dagger. He's got a phase shift, but it's only level 1. Insufficient. As the Zombie Man combines with the Gorgon to turn this fight around bottom. And still, I believe, a good fight for Empire. A 2 for 3 overall. And their Void does survive, but BBC don't lose any... Well, oh, sorry, they do lose the Razor, but at this point, he feels more like a mobile mech than a true carry. It's death number 3 for him. Chronosphere onto Padrino. This is where you'd love to have the mech on him, but he might end up going down here. If he can get off a spell or 2, he'll survive. Unable to do it. That Skywrath Mage Silence, it's just so damn effective against Undying. Completely reliant on his spells. I'm honestly thinking that a Yule Scepter might not be a bad choice here. You could go BKB, but Yule's has the additional benefit of helping to save your teammates inside a Chronosphere. I think they needed to do out that Skywrath Mage Silence, because it's the reason that he's died every time. If he's able to get off his spells, he wouldn't have died once this game. I would say at least 3 of the 4 deaths are due to that. They're looking for a Chuck mid, but Resolution and Silent can't quite get in range for that combination. As the hasted Ogre moves in bottom lane. On a little mission here. Let's see. Max Fire Blast, will he get a multi? No, quick reactions there. Nicely played by Always Wanna Fly. That was the danger zone, though. He does have to be careful. And they'll send their Puck Orb scouting out a bit. They have dropped Dire Observer. Oh, Resolution gets stunned out. can't actually click on. I think that's actually... Oh, it's a sentry. Okay, so they have sentryed that high ground, but can't get in range to deward it. He's under too much pressure. And I would like to see BBC continue to group. I still think Empire aren't that strong in 5-man clashes yet. That will change soon, but if you go in and you don't catch either Medusa, Undying, or Razor, like you have to catch all three with the Silence or slash Chrono, or they just stay on gaze, they mech, they drop the Tombstone and heal their teammates and the fight turns. So as long as you keep a nice spread here, BBC still should have the edge. While that's going on, the Tiny begins to get some momentum for Silent. He has picked up an early Staff of Wizardry. We'll see what he wants to go for. I don't think you could quite break high ground yet. They may try for a bit of a siege. But that would be a bit risky. I'd like to see them de-push the top lane, get some good aggressive wards out, and get your next set of items. As we see a Staff of Wizardry. Yeah, he is going to go Yules. I like this a lot from Padrino. Yules to deal with the Skyro Silence. That's the main one. The Puck Silence, pretty good as well. And it also has that added benefit I mentioned of countering the Chronosphere. So I would say get your Yule Scepter, complete the Medusa Manta, which also will help against the Silences. Just get as many levels as you can, maybe the Force Staff and the Ogre. And then as soon as those two big items are up, you can go for the tier 2 top. You can probably try and sneak a Roshan. They're not a great Rosh lineup, though. They may have to get kills first to make that happen. But Empire are starting to find that, just those kind of freebie objectives around the map. They got that tier 1 top I mentioned earlier. Now the tier 1 bottom also claimed by them. And, okay, it's not a Manta. It's actually going to be a Scotty. Which is, in some ways, a lot better as a pickup. The issue here is if you go Manta, there's a lot of AoE from the Tiny to counter. Hockey does manage to get off his damage drain on Yoki, though, and they bring in the Medusa Stone Gaze. This will force Yoki back. Chronosphere was not used there, though. He just went in for some bashes. I think, waiting to see if he got a bash before the Static Leak. If he did, then he Chronos, then they go for the kill, but without it, it might have been a bit difficult. So yeah, Scotty picked up. Also, the other thing is you're up against 2 melee carries, a Void and a Tiny. So that attack speed, move speed slow will be very potent. Helps to negate the Mask of Madness bonus, the Wisp bonus. As the Tombstone is dropped top lane, Tiny trying to clear this out. Will the Undying be able to heal it in time? He hasn't gone for it. That's 150 gold down the drain, and potentially that even a jump in if he traces too far. Padrino getting aggressive. 101 damage for him. More stolen. He's not got the level 3 Decay. Did not go for the Soul Rip max. He's maxing out Decay instead. But Empire are doing a good job of spreading this map out. They push in the top lane very hard. They farm the mid lane with Resolution. And they keep it close. It's only a 2,500 gold lead. At one point it was a 7,500 gold lead, or a little bit less. Experience now favoring the Dire. You do have to worry for BBC. Some of these heroes just don't go that late. Crystal Maiden, Undying in particular. I would say BBC timing windows probably 10 minutes or so. Beyond that, you're counting on heroes getting caught in Stone Gaze rather than being able to force the issue. And they are going to seize the momentum now. They're not going to push the top lane. They're going to force it down mid. Yule Scepter up. Force Staff not ready, but otherwise this is the timing I mentioned, with the first big item on the Medusa being the Scotty rather than the Manta, but still, that first big item is complete. And they will push in now. There'll be Weehan front. None of these heroes great at killing off towers, though. You don't have a Death Prophet, there's no Ags as of yet on your Razor, so it's a slow and steady siege, not a fast one. And Empire are going to play the Tiny Wisp to perfection. Just rotate bottom immediately, start split pushing, and try and force a choice. Do BBC want to give up towers and maybe take high ground, or do they want to play it safe and deep push and then go back in? Because if they want to do the latter, that gives more time out for the rotation. They do see this Void behind them. They just don't have the right heroes to punish it. He can just sit here and, like, what do they do? Unless the Ogre is a Blink Dagger, there's no way they get the jump on him. And they give away the fact that they spot him too. They run up the hill. The Void will head towards bottom lane. And it seems BBC are just a little bit outmaneuvered for now. Empire will draw them back. They keep the farm up. Tiny had completed his Zags, now up to another 1,500 gold. And he's pushing in the bottom. continue to work on the tower here. As mid lane, Yoki is going to find at least a solo pick on Levy. He'll take it too. Anytime you get a kill like this, it ensures that they're not pushing until that hero respawns. Meanwhile, bottom, Padrino dropped the tombstone. Tries to do something to Silent, but unless they get the Ogre in range, there's always a relocate out that can turn this one. Solo, hiding in the tree line. They'll see the Tiny makes it out safely. And then, space created for the mid lane. So after that kill on the Crystal Maiden, Empire, again, just one step ahead of BBC. We'll take down another tower mid. The Undying is scary when he pops that ultimate, but, well, he just can't get in range to do anything. I think they may just have to YOLO at mid. They may just not have a choice. Either that or go for ultra late game with like your Ags, Refresher, BKB Razor, maybe a Heart on top of that, and you know your 5/6 slotted Medusa. For now, Weehaw will pick up an Ultimate Orb. He works probably towards a Manta style here. I still think it's a good choice. Could be a Linked Sphere as well, but you want something to deal with the Puck silence, and Linked Sphere not going to help you so much against that. Either way, Ultimate Orb, casual stats, always good for Medusa. She is still, by a slight margin, your leader in net worth. But that's going to change. That's the one thing Tiny Wisp will always have on a Medusa. Even if Medusa is an equally hard carry, she gets caught too. Avalanche to start, or Toss to start, Avalanche to follow. Now the Stone Gaze deployed. They're going to turn to face her, and she'll turn to fight. Focusing on Solo, they should be able to kill up the Wisp if she's not quick on the relocate. Didn't even try for it, just tried to tether to safety. Silent continued to do what he can during this time with the toss up on the Wisp, the jump back down, but with no Wisp to protect him, this could be the opening that BBC were searching for. They tried to bite off more than they can chew. An unappetizing meal, that Medusa. And meanwhile, Void does find Padrino, uses himself up in the air, and now we'll continue chasing the Void. He should really be booking it towards mid lane. You want this Undying here. He's an important part of your team fight. The Tombstone, well, I guess now on cooldown for 45 seconds. Either that or they should all go top. They should be fighting with him, that's for damn sure. Izuki has been continuing to find his far. I mean, you got to consider this guy laned against a Razor. He's got 108 CS since then. His chronos have been on point, his rotations have been solid. Overall, filling some pretty big shoes in the form of Mags. I have to say, Yoki's been impressive for me. It's only a 1-game sample size that I remember seeing him in, but nonetheless, he's doing a good job so far. They'll go into the Roche Pit solo. He's got a decent amount of a bonus regen here with the headdress. They'll keep the Void at full HP. They would like the Tiny to assist in this endeavor, though he's busy addressing the middle lane, and Levy may move in. They've got the Eye of Scotty slow and always want to fly. He's going to be sacked. Does drop the Mystic Flare, dropping Levy about to half HP. This is a risky maneuver from Empire, but it seems it will pay off. Tether continuing to support from the high ground. The Oak, or the Ancient Granite Golem, just wanting to be a part of something bigger than himself. He's dissatisfied with his life as an Ancient, and Solo's farming him from the high ground while assisting the Void in the pit. What a team player. It looks like they will end up sneaking the Roche. Not contested at all. And that is trouble for Team BBC. The comeback is still there for Empire. It's a slight lead in terms of goal and experience for BBC, but how do they find pickoffs? That's always the question. If you can't find pickoffs against the Tiny Wisp, if you try to deathball down mid, at a certain point in this game, they will just be too fast to split pushing. You can try and bait them and then counter-initiate, but like, how do you start that fight? Blink into Medusa ultimate? It can work, but it limits her item progression into late game. Force Staff into Ogre Stun also can work, just not that much of a reliable way to win fights. They do complete a Linked Sphere. I mean, credit to Weehaw. He has kept his farm up this game. Sitting at 2-0-5, yet to die. Living up to that MMR, that's for damn sure. And it looks like they'll make their way towards top. Our Ogre has gone for a Bloodlust max. This is the ideal late game build for the Ogre. Your level progression will probably be fairly limited, but by maxing the Bloodlust now, you ensure that even if you don't get anywhere near level 15 or 16, You'll still bring a lot to the table for the Medusa. That's a ton of bonus attack speed. And they'll take advantage. They take down the last outer tower. And do they go high ground now is the question. It's a BKB for Silent. Interesting pickup considering you're up against Stone Gaze, Static Link, Razor Ultimate. It does help against some of the other crowd control. But there are definitely ways to deal with this BKB. And they're going to force it now. That the other difference is now they have the Aghanim Scepter on the Razor. So the push comes quite a bit faster. They do have to be careful not to let Hockey get caught out completely. Chronosphere is available, and Void's looking for that opening in. Hockey is the main hero to keep alive because he's the one doing all the damage to the tower. Coil will start this. Immediately the Stone Gaze comes out. Does the Void Blade jump in? Yes, he does. But he turns to face the Medusa. I guess he's just out of range, so he will not end up getting gazed. A great Crystal Maiden ultimate. Basically full duration. In fact, I think it was. Ends up bringing down the Void Aegis. Silent comes back to life, but slowed for ages. Medusa at full health. Perfect timing for BBC to crack the base. They may not have the better split push, but they have the Medusa. The unkillable tank in the front lines. Yoki stunned and chased back by Solitude. This is going to be a base crack for BBC and no trade in sight. Empire looking shaky, to put it mildly, in their opener. They'll lose one lane of Rex. If they lost the game entirely, Tiny went for an item that's meant to win you the game now. That is going to set them back if they want to try and take this late. The Void lost his Aegis, which will also set them back. That's a triple multicast dodge. Nicely done. As Solitude will pay. This could be costly if they end up losing Weehaw. Has he stuck around for too long? Tries for the TP out. Is there going to be a bash? Is there going to be a toss? Anything? Oh, they got the bash. That's all they wrote. Oh, sorry. Actually, that was the Hex, not a bash. But probably would have gotten a bash anyway. Mystic Flare coming through. Weehaw gonna go down. So they do lose quite a bit in taking that lane of Rax. No buybacks for either team. Still a win for BBC. But not as convincing of a win as what you would like. Had they just retreated a bit sooner, not gotten a little bit cocky, they could have left with pretty much all their heroes intact. Maybe you lose a support or two. You definitely don't lose Razor and Medusa. And this is the mobility of Empire. That's their strength. Blink, Hex in to go onto the Razor. Chronosphere in 7. With the additional damage that always one flies brings to the table, well, he's still gonna die, but it looks like they'll get the trade on the Razor. That's worth it. Solitude fishing for another multicast. The cooldown's here. Chrono, oh, just in the nick of time, and he gets the bashes. He gets one. He looks for Padrino. The Yule Scepter available. Gonna throw him up in the air, steal a bit of strength and retreat as Yoki lurches forward. It's 4 dead. The zombies not sufficient, or are they? The slow? Not really enough. Yoki can tank these. Kill them all off, and no more mana to go in further. I believe if you add up all the deaths, that's over a team wipe. As, I think Razor died in the previous push top lane. Either way, close enough. Empire gonna look to take a tier 2 top. It may have been worth it to give up that lane of Rax, simply because they've gotten so much since then in return. Essentially a full team wipe, now a tower top lane, a kill on the Medusa and on the Razor as well, kills on cores that have slowed down their item progressions. They storm back into this one. And we will now see BBC moving through the middle lane with Weehaw in the front. This could be a decent opportunity to go for a second lane of Rax. Roshan not yet respawning. There won't be an Aegis ready. You'd like to go now before you have to deal with 2 lives on the Void. They won that fight top with the 2 lives. Imagine if he doesn't have them. He does have the Mjolnir now and a BKB, but again, BKBs, while they may be essential, are not a solution here by any means. They'll stun Silent. Force Staff into a multicast. Can the Wisp relocate him out? He's gonna need to. Yes, he will. But that means Wisp down. I don't think they can engage on this. Resolution might try for it. They're going to set up a nice spread. Resolution orbing, but getting slowed out by Weehaw. They got to find a good engagement. They'll bring back the Tiny, popping all the BKBs. Tombstone was dropped, but it takes 3 clubs for Silent to deal with that. Then he tosses Hockey up into the air. Where's that Static Link? He's not getting it off during this time. They haven't lost anyone, though. Weehaw's healthy. Another ding, ding, ding. Ogre again connecting, and from the high ground, Levy celebrates with a sensational Crystal Maiden ultimate. Another good one for him. I think BBC, it's safe to say, this game is looking like theirs to take now. Double buybacks forced out on the Scarith Mage and on the Puck. There's no chrono, though. There's no easy way to take the fight except just good old-fashioned right-clicking from Yogi, but he's slowed down by Knife Scotty. There's going to be still full HP and mana on Weehaw. And everyone survives outside of the Razor, and they will take this tower. Do they get more is the question. Searching for the backstab is silent. But no quick and simple solutions into this fight. Weehaw turning off his split shot now, just patiently chipping away. He gets more bloodlust. They want to kill off the other heroes. Leave the Medusa for last. You do not want to try to deal with this large Gorgon first. And this is why. Because when they don't focus her, Yoki pays the price. No Stone Gaze for now, but they're just clubbing him from multiple directions. Finally, the Mana's gone to toss. Oh, they barely get the kill. That was some damn good bash luck for the Void there. Felt like 50-60% bash rate. Well, they do hold on, but it requires a double buyback and still 2 more deaths. That was a dieback for your Skyrith Mage. So 4 deaths, one of them a dieback, one of them a buyback to get 5, and they lost a tier 3. I'm going to say that's an even trade. I don't think that's a clear win for either team. I think the issue for Empire is they're the ones who, if they lose one more fight now, they just flat out lose. BBC, as long as they maintain buybacks, have at least 1-2 more lost fights left in them. Our opening match of the day, so far, a topsy-turvy show as Resolution looks for a solo pick here on Levy. Should find it as well with the Hex coming through. They're going to relocate in the Tiny. They're bringing in a lot just to finish off Levy. Have they brought in too much? Well, maybe not if they find Hockey as well. He's trapped in by his own creeps. A costly double loss. A double whammy for Empire. And they'll leave Silent behind to push in the mid lane further. They do have their Medusa back online now. Do they have buyback on Razor? They do not. And this means Roche should be up. Minute or so to go. Maybe a minute and a half. A little bit less. I don't know if it's Roche secured, but they are starting to think about it. And if they get that Aegis, then BBC will have to play it a little more cautiously. They may even want to wait out the next stages. Weehaw, should they be unable to contest, Weehaw is going to be near his Butterfly. And I do want to mention, Tiny, as much as the other heroes have struggled in these fights, has not had to buy it back. Silent now has picked up an Assault Cuirass, very important item. You're up against spread physical damage. Well, spread armor is a great way to counter that. So a nice pickup for Tiny. Always good, and also allows him to base race a little bit more effectively. Though when you're already down a Rax and a half, it may become more of a throne race than a simple Rax trade if you want to stay in this one. BBC moving now through the river. We'll have a quick pause from Always Want to Fly. And we'll reset, so... Well, for those just joining us, we've got 2 more matches today. The next match is immediately after this one. It's Empire versus Moscow 5. It's a day of primarily CIS Dota. Lots of Russian and Ukrainian, Eastern European action coming your way. Then the final match of the day, a bit later on, will be Na'Vi in their 3rd game of the Summit 2. Currently 1-1, facing off against Cloud9, who dropped had an unfortunate setback the other day. As they were taken down in an upset. A match that many expected them to win, but they ended up falling short. The Power Rangers, as always, Mighty and Morphin. Actually pulled the double upset. We'll have a bit of a longer pause. Solitude needs just a moment, but yeah, thanks to everybody who's joining me, and hope you'll continue to stay with us for the next 2 games today. It's a relatively, I guess, what would you say? Relatively light schedule for Europe. Tomorrow, though, is where we get into the meat of the schedule. Because of Dream League, we've rescheduled a lot of games under just a few days. So we have, the cool thing is, it does mean we have some really action-packed days. Tomorrow we have 6 games. BBC plays Tinker and Alliance, Fnatic plays Empire, Na'Vi plays Power Rangers and Moscow 5, and Tinker plays Alliance. The next day, the 20th, the last day I'll be casting before I pack up and head over to Kiev for Starladder Season 10. Yes, those LAN finals coming very soon. And most of the BTS crew will be inbound for that. The next day might be the biggest day of the entire group stage. Secret versus Alliance, Secret versus Fnatic, Na'Vi versus Tinker, Alliance versus Cloud9, Empire versus Secret. So 3 Secret games all in one day, and VP Polar versus BBC, and we rounded off with Cloud9 versus Tinker. Yeah, that 3-day stretch from the 19th to the 21st, I highly recommend that you take the day off work if you could afford it, or if you've got some downtime at least. Watch as many of those games as you can. This is definitely more than one moment. All right, well, I'm gonna grab myself a glass of water. Hopefully, I don't miss any kills. All right, water secured. Water secured. Let's try and keep our foot on the pedal here. Keep the game going, BBC. It was so action packed. Now you're taking the wind out of our sails. Urgent bathroom business. Oh no. I hope he's okay. That's almost too much information already.
Oi, look, it's me. I'm an ogre. I'm an ogre too. Stop biting my ear.
Alright, we're back into it. I don't have to talk to myself anymore. Yes, I am slightly schizophrenic. Casting Dota for a living will do that to you. And Rosh has respawned, but everyone alive for both teams now. Let's get ready to rumble, because this could be a doozy of a fight. Buyback status, not good for the Radiant. That last turn of events might have been a bit too much after what looked like an amazing beginning for them. There's a double buyback on the 2 key heroes in Empire. The Void, the Tiny, the most important 2 to have it on. For now, they put the Void in the pit. They leave the Tiny Wisp outside. They're going to put Solo up on this cliff. Very nice place for the Wisp to engage into that pit from. And now, Padrino will drop the high ground tombstone. That's a pretty good place for it. Not easy for the Tiny to get to it, at least. Then Chrono, they focus on Hockey. No BKB yet, and, well, Stone Gaze insufficient. We have walked into the Chronosphere. He gets off a Stone Gaze, but then it's pretty much the duration wasted at the same time by the Chronosphere. The Aegis going the way of Silent. This Roshan fight not looking too great for BBC. It's all up to Lady Dusa. Maybe she'll be able to kite Silent, but there's still a relocate to bring him safely. They could even consider bringing the Tiny bottom if they want, and just try and force everybody back. And in the meantime, Yogi going for the TP out. Oh, no Frostbite. Didn't have the Fire Blast range. So in the end, a Razor for a Skywrath, but the Aegis claimed and still intact on the Dire. Big win for them. Amazing to see 10 heroes at the Roche Pit at 37 minutes and only a 1-for-1. Still either team's game. You've got for those just joining us, you've got Expose Rax mid. For Empire, they've lost a full lane top, but they have the Tiny Wisp, they have the Aegis advantage now, they've got the dual core, the more mobile lineup, the better base racing lineup for sure because of the Tiny. And, well, this Razor is really the weak link right now, it feels. Hockey doesn't have really much farm at all, just a BKB Ags. And they're hunting. And they're going to find him again. I won't even say it jinxed him, because this has just been the story of the game. 5 heroes converge, but the 1 in 9 Razor of Hockey will fall once more. We are able to escape in time, I suppose. Good news is, it didn't spawn out the Medusa. Empire doesn't take an objective off of this. But they get another kill, and it also gives them time to farm their buybacks. So, still having it on the Tiny Wisp, they're getting, or the Tiny Void, I should say. Getting close to it on the Wisp. They'll have the cooldown, and the Scarlet Mage also already has his gold. Puck the one that doesn't, but we're looking at 4 buybacks in the next couple of minutes for Empire. Radiant side, still a ways off. Some of these heroes aren't likely to farm 600 gold for quite a few minutes, unless they get kills. Would like to see Weehaw go ahead and complete his butterfly. I'm not feeling like a Medusa buyback's going to win this game. He's got money for it. Oh, top lane. Resolution caught out in the secret shop. Now stunned. The multicast is there. It's only a 2-timeser, but it should be enough. Can he blink out in time? Oh, nope, no chance. Coming back down into too many instances of damage. No real time to react, and will end up falling. So they get a kill on the puck. No buyback for 400 gold. And also was cooling down for a few seconds. If they just all go mid right now, this could quickly turn into a base race. But there's already a Void getting creeps at the base bottom. Silent. Not the best base race items. He sells his Midas, buys a teleport scroll. Wants to be able to TP back to base and then still be able to be relocated out for action. So they will make their go on Yoki bottom lane, but, well, they need that 4-staff stun. Ogre comes flying in. Unable to quite get in range for that. Yeah, I really think you should just be buying out if you're Medusa. If you don't win the fight with your Stone Gaze, you're probably not winning it with a buyback. And ultimately, they need to convincingly win fights because they're not going to kill buildings nearly as quickly. It might be a matter of Weehaw just wanting to get to the secret shop. Courier is going there. Yoki gonna get caught out from behind. He'll time walk past the Razor, doing his best Neo impression, and that will be your completed butterfly online now for Weehaw. 40 minutes in, his farm has started to slow down. He was once way up on the Tiny. Part of it's just that he can't really get out on the map. He doesn't have a Wisp to back him up. These lanes are constantly pushed in. He's got to play defense. So for Padrino, it's kind of a hodgepodge of items. He started off with the early Arcane Boots. He went for a Hood. Then he realized I need a Yules because Skywrath is owning me. So he got the Yules, also great against Chronosphere. Love that pickup. Then he goes back for the Crimson Guard. Now he's picked up a Plate Mail. So he's just trying to tank up. But honestly, I feel like no matter how big Petrino gets, he's losing the arms race. He's not going to keep up with your Void. 5k gold down on him. Chronosphere will still kill him. I think the good thing is, as long as he gets Tombstone down, that's pretty much all he can do. It's just where Tombstone isn't very effective at this point. We saw in the last fight, Tiny 3-shots it. You can try and heal it to keep it alive a bit longer, but it's going down one way or another. Yoki just trying to set up some kills around the map. It was a smoke from BBC. Courier now headed to the side shop. What's it buying? Aghanims? For... Oh, sorry. Whose was that? Is that the Crystal Maiden? Solid. Oh, the Ogre! Alright, this could be a big one. Unlocks his Unrefined Fire Blast, and... well, he's got the mana to support this now. Has the Arcane Boots, has the 4 staffs. This could be a game changer. BKBs are starting to drop fairly low. Well, actually, Void's still healthy. 8 seconds on his. Let's see. Silent. 7 on his. Yeah, pretty healthy for 42 minutes. But if this game goes on much longer, they will drop low. And that's where the Ogre can really come into play. Mask of Madness makes this Ogre inherently more scary. They'll keep on protecting their siege engine in Weehaw. But you just got to imagine, what if BBC, when they took this Rax, had just calmly backed early? They wouldn't have given up 3-4 kills. They definitely wouldn't have given up the kill on the Medusa. And this game might have been different. That was the first death of the game for the Medusa. Since then, she's at 2. After dying 0 times in the first 25-30 minutes, Weehaw will walk right into the Tiny. But he can't die to these two. They need the Void if they want to kill him. And really, they need the ultimate to be on cooldown. It is a completed Demon Edge for Weehaw. And I'm wondering, is he thinking about a straight Rapier? Well, straight. He's picked up 3 other big items. But is he thinking about a Rapier? There's no real evasion to deal with this game. Backtrack, but MKB doesn't go through that. And no butterflies, no Heaven's Halberds. Just a casual no talisman. Could be a tiny butterfly in the making. So maybe he thinks about an MKB because of that. Rapier will help you a lot more in a base race, though. If you're just right-clicking buildings, you turn off your split shot. Rapier will be good for that. And they signal the push mid. Smoked up on 4. Obviously, if Medusa's here, the rest are here. So this is not going to fool anyone. They see a TP from Silent, and they may just be content with this. The pings come out top lane. Empire saying this is where they're going to wrap around, and it seems BBC are starting to inch that direction, thinking about going exactly that way. They'll keep their Tiny up in reserve, and still looking to make their move in. Yeah, just an auto attack on the creep wave. Yoki, oh no. Oh, double damage can wear off. He's got a Demon Edge picked up. He's got another big right-click item. He's kept real close. Consider he laned against a Razor early. That's an impressive showing from your Void. 9, 2, and 8. He's definitely been their MVP. And he still looks for his opening mid lane. Silent in the front. Ideally wants to catch Weehaw so that the Stone Gaze doesn't just ruin the fight. And they don't have eyes up this hill. Still searching for that opening, but they're getting more aggressive, finagling their way out. Yoki looking for the jump in. They hex Weehaw. Then the Chrono comes through. Mystic Flare, insta-death for the Razor. Once again, just useless. Now the Tombstone focus. They do get off the Stone Gaze. Weehaw charging forward. Manages to bring down, well, rather to stun Silent. But he got craggied. He was too close to the Tiny and ends up now being on the way out of this fight. Those quick chops with the club. Doing too much work from the high ground. Will try to turn this one, though. They get the ding-dings. The double ding-dings. Maybe it's enough. Maybe it can turn this Silent, clubbing hard but being slowed and kited. Another ding, ding, ding! Solitude wins the lottery. 4 heroes fall. That was at least 3 big multicasts. Music to the ears of BBC, bailed out by the Ogre and his devastating Aghanim Scepter. At the final hour, there's only Ogre. This will force out the Tiny buyback. Immediate relocate mid lane. And they look to go on Weehaw, who also has his own buyback. He may be forced to use it. No ultimate for a little while. A 2 times multicast casually lobbed out by Solitude. He's going to be he's definitely going down for this. There's no way he gets out. They'll toss to the Wisp. Unless the Medusa turns this fight. Silent, remember, he bought back. If he dies again, they flat out might just lose this game. Yoki being focused for now. Doesn't have a buyback. That's a dieback on him as well. Dieback number 1. There's no relocate for 30 seconds. They might lose it all right here. Empire, their first game of the Summit 2. How the hell is this goddamn freaking Ogre still alive? 15, 20 health. He survives. Weehaw. Oh my goodness. A lot of help from a very big friend. MVP in the house. Strutting up on your base. Tiny didn't die, but there's no Void for 90 seconds. Razor respawned, and all they need him to do is just press R. Press R and right-click buildings, young man. That's the goal for you. Onto the tier 3 towers. Weehaw in the front. Has 4,000 gold, has an MKB being delivered, and they'll look to go in with the Tiny Avalanche to start. Weehaw in the front lines, immediately popping his ultimate. He's got to get in front of somebody here. They all turn, but he corners them. He backs them into an awkward situation. No Chronosphere to assist through this, and Weehaw begins to go to work. Not using the split shot. Okay, now he is. He's focusing 3 heroes simultaneously. Avalanche continue to deal with him. He's almost out of mana. He may be forced to run. Where's those multicasts? Where's those multicasts when you need them? It's 2 lanes of racks down, but it's not GG just yet. It's a Tiny Wisp. There's always the possibility of that. Okay, let's throw it right now. You gotta convincingly just kill that Tiny once more. Make it a dieback for him. They can't quite do it, though. Padrino's gonna be dead. They'll lose their Undying as well. And they will at least get something. Roshan is alive. They can look for that. The Medusa stopping off to farm Ancients. Levy will also be pursued and picked off. So now we want to check buybacks here for the Radiant. They have it on 3, including one that's already alive in the Medusa. So they can bring 4 heroes into this game. Already sitting on 2, but I don't think they need to. Creeps are pushing in bottom. Skyrith Mage is the only hero out on the map. They lost a tier 4 tower while that was all going on. And the other tier 4 drop below half HP. And remember, that Dusa was down like 2-3k gold on the Tiny. It's essentially a 5k gold swing. Now up 3k. And 5.4k gold in the bank. This may be rapier territory. This guy just... Oh, Solitude. What an amazing Ogre player. So good. The Dings are strong with this one. That's for damn sure. They'll get the Aegis, and they get it on the Void. He's generally been the hero who dies first. They also have a double damager and a Tiny, but no lanes pushed in, so they can't go for just the straight tier 3, try to throne it kind of play. Pure skill on the side of BBC. And at the rate this is going, with the success Ogre picks have had recently, this hero, it's already, I'd say, basically the new Skywrath Mage, but he hasn't been, I don't think he's been quick quite as much. After some of these games, the success he's had in the North American scene, with Root Gaming in particular running their own brand of core Ogre, solo mid, we're going to see this hero non-stop. So if you, I hope you like playing the lottery, because if you don't, you're going to get sick of Dota real quickly. You can always ban him, though. That's always an option. They'll find out one right now. It's the Skywrath Mage. Not the biggest kill, but it's a kill. They got a 3x multicast. Casually, of course. Ogre never tries too hard about anything. And they'll just push in. They're going to draw the line to the bottom lane. The call is made by Padrino. And they'll bring in Weeha as well. Bottom lane for the Dire is pushing with creeps, but I don't think it's far enough. And god damn, this Razor still doesn't have his BKB. 12k gold. That net worth is just pitiful. Looks like Weeha is going to opt to skip a straight Rapier. He's going to go for probably a Satanic here. Picks up the Reaver. They're thinking about a jump on him, but he just pops a preemptive Stone Gaze. This will usher Empire back. It does mean, though, they could be in trouble. They ended up losing their Courier. They'll get the Mega Creeps, or at least close to it. As the Chronosphere connects on 2. Finding the Ogre Magi. No more RNG for you, friend. And Tony is looking a bit merciless here, but it's mega secured by Weeha. He has buyback. Buyback status for the Radiant. 5 buybacks are up. Even if they all get wiped, they're still in okay shape. And they did manage to pop the Void Aegis as well. Yoki on the prowl. Probably the death of your Medusa. Doesn't have a Boots of Travel. Just needs to stall, though. Creeps will do the work mid. Slowly, but they'll kill off these buffer buildings, and Medusa will fall. Surviving is Padrino. Medusa dead for 90. The rest only dead for 40. But they're going to relocate bottom lane and try to force this. Glyph immediately pop. Buyback on the Ogre. He doesn't really have to engage too much. Does he get that multicast on the Wisp? Could be a kill if so. 1, 2, 3. Count him and weep. It's enough. The kill secured. Again. And this might be the death of the Tiny as well. Stun's there. Another 2x multicast. The gift that keeps on giving. He'll be forced to pop his BKB. He won't have it for the later siege. Now the Tombstone being focused. Chronosphere up in 22. Everybody from Empire committing, but creeps are pushing in mid. More multicast. Give me more. I need more multi. And he delivers. That's 4 multicasts in a row. One of them about 3 times. The one-man army says, "Thou shall not pass. I am the real Gandalf. I've gone ugly. I've gone orc. But I am very potent." What an Ogre game. And now 40-39 your score, 52 minutes in. It's never been more than a 10,000 gold lead. And a 10,000 gold lead, even at this stage, you're probably looking at like, I don't know, 10-15% lead. That's not a big deal. Early game, yeah, it's huge. Experience now 15,000 favor of the Dire. All of that virtually irrelevant. At this stage, you're playing tower defense. You're not playing Dota anymore. 3 lanes will push in against you if you're Team Empire. No creeps. No Rex here. No Rex here. And no Rex here. The triple sad face. The thing is, like, they gotta get the creeps to the base if they want to go for a base race play. And that's tough against Megas. Resolution will deny the double downstream. You'll see he's picked up a Vlad. It's a nice choice to synergize with the Tiny Void. And somebody's got to buy it. This Scarlet Mage ain't buying crap. Be forced to buy back on that hero it's a death sentence for your economy anyway. Still hanging in there. BBC looking for their first win in the Summit 2. And they're getting close. Oops. Let's see. Do they really want to wait for their double buyback? I mean, they could if they want to play this safe. All the lanes are pretty pushed in. I gotta tell you, though, Hockey needs to stay with this team. Every time this guy isn't with this team, bad things happen. And they could honestly relocate on him right now. If they knew where the other heroes were, they would. He still doesn't have the BKB. We're now 54 minutes in. A 1-in-12 Razor who was laning against Avoidant at free farm. He has been the object of much pressure, but he's got to do better. They don't get a multi-guess this time, though. Solitude still gets the double stun. It's enough to bring down the Void. No buyback. That's it. It's all Ogre now. BBC straight down the middle lane. They'll bring down the tier 4's Glyph is ready. Can they base race this? They're going to have to relocate Brack. They're braiding in all reinforcements, but Weehaw stands strong, pops his ultimate, and will prevent Silent from doing work. Frozen at the worst possible moment as Weehaw turns his attention. They just can't keep Silent alive. I believe that was even a Wisp cheese pop. None of it matters. Silent will fall. GG. The Balkan Bears Corleone beat down Empire in their opening match of the Summit 2. And Empire starts it off 0-1. Well, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our opening match here of the Summit 2 Europe. We've got 2 more games coming your way today, although it seems one of them may have a scheduling conflict. Not sure what will be done about that. We'll consult with the admins and try to figure it out. But coming up next will be Empire again in their second game of the tournament, facing Moscow 5. That match should be starting, well, right about now, because this was a bit of a doozy. Then we'll have a break, and it's supposed to be Na'Vi versus Cloud9 at 20:30 today. So, CEST, of course. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few moments.